All right, so those of you who missed me yesterday, my name is Felix Labi Aye. I'm a certified cybersecurity specialist. My certification is coming from ISC squared, so I'm a member of the ISC and a member of the IEEE. All these are membership that I have. I have a Ph.D. in computer science and engineering, a master's in information technology, and a BSc in computer science and statistics. I'm currently a lecturer in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering here in UMAT, and also the University Webmaster. So most of the web things that you see that relates to the university, um, I'm either the one who developed it or um, the other students or other the new workers are building on that. Right. The platform that you'll be using for quizzes and all, that is the same platform. I developed that platform about 5 years ago during the COVID time. I was then in Nigeria. So the vice chancellor then called me, to tell me if I could do it remotely because I wasn't in Ghana during the COVID. So quickly I had to find a way to let the ICT unit set up two servers for me. They installed a servers and I had to remotely come into those servers and install the VLE for students to use for their exams and also their lectures. Right, so that is basically me. So if anyone amongst you have a company and would want somebody to develop a website or design a website or whatever, I'm always available, or a software relation, always available to do that. Great. It's nice meeting all of you once again. So let's start with today's lecture. Yesterday, we talked about what a computer is, the uses of computers, the types of computers that do exist. And with the types, we said the type is usually based on two main things, the use and also the size. And based on these two things, we classify the computer to be either a microcomputer, a mini computer, a mainframe computer, or a supercomputer. Then we went a step further by talking about some few things that make up the computer, which is a computer system. So I briefed you that within a computer system, we have the hardware and the software, the firmware. The firmware relates to more of the ROM and the boot sequence, the post, and so on. And for the software aspects, there are two sections. We have the application software and also the system software. Usually the system software relates to the operating system. So that is where the concentration is. And so we have this operating system and the system software, the network operating system also and the software and system software. Now we also talked about what's the other one is, which is the application software, where we said that these are specialized software that are designed solely to perform specific tasks. I think let me just check everyone. I mean disabled annotation so that you will not write on the page. Right. Right. So now, yeah, so we talked about the system software and the computer. We talked about the component that make up a computer too as well. I touched on the inputs, outputs, the CPU, the storage. Sometimes we also include the communication medium as part of it. Now we have a computer setup. We buy a computer. Most of the computers that we normally use all the time is the microcomputer, which is our personal laptop and so on. So in this way, if we want to, I've disabled everybody from talking. If you want to talk, you just raise your hand. I'll give you access. So once we have a laptop in there, by default, the laptop comes with an operating system. And usually it's either Windows or Macintosh, depending on where you purchased it from. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to delve straight into the system software, which is the other part of the computer system. We've already talked about the hardware, where the inputs and the output devices came in. We know what the input devices are and the output devices. So all those things that relates to the hardware. So in today's lecture, the concentration is on the software aspect. So at the end of this lecture, these are the objectives and expected outputs or outcomes. So we will delve straight into what it means to say bringing a computer to life. And I will introduce to you what graphical Windows operating system is. That is the GUI, the operating system itself. You are also going to familiarize yourself with the items on the desktop and also learn some few basic techniques that relates to the computer. And you have some knowledge about the parts and also the way to manipulate the little window in the Windows operating system. So when you are using in our part of the world, the operating system that we normally use is Windows. So if we do use Windows, then any software that we open in the Windows operating system finds itself in a window. So when you launch it, it is in a window. So that is what we mean by the little window over here. So at the end of the lecture, it's expected that students will be able to use the Windows operating system and run application programs. So basically, these are the objectives and the expected output for this lecture. Now, I talked about bringing the PC to life. The hardware which you purchase, if you don't put it on, it will not work. So we need a set of instructions to now talk to the hardware to relate and do all those computations for us. If you recall, I said the hardware is mainly meant for computations. The software helps talk to the hardware. Now, bringing the computer to life, we will need a software. So now what is a software? By definition, we say a software is a set of electronic instructions. So these are instructions, they are electronic because it has to be, those electronics will have to be sent via an electricity medium. Electronic instructions that tells the computer how to perform certain tasks. So for the computer to do anything, you need to have a software. And this set of instruction is often called a program. So sometimes your friend will ask you, do you have maybe speaking program or do you have maybe speaking software? It's just about the same thing. Anytime you are using any program on your computer, it is termed as the program is running, like your your Word is running or PowerPoint is running, or you are executing the program. That is a term that we normally use. Now, there are two main common ways by which a system software can talk to, by which the operating system, the users are able to relate with the operating system. But before that, these are the common types of software that exists per computer system architecture that I showed you, the blue one. We have the system software and the application software. I'll talk about each one of them. But before that, we have an operating system over here. The operating system falls under the system software. And usually, for the user to be able to talk to the operating system, like how I am moving my mouse and doing other things, there are two main ways through which I can interact with the computer using the operating system. And that is the CLI, which is a command line interface, and the graphical user interface. So these are the two main ways we are able to interact with the operating system that is running on the computer. For the command line, you normally will see somebody, typing some text like this. So for instance, at the command line prompt, those of us who most times when we watch movies, you'll see people typing things over here. So for instance, if I want to know the content of this directory, this is a directory, the webmaster is a directory. If I want to know the things are in this, I'll just type dir and it will display all the files that I have over here. If I want to go to drive C, I will just change directory. That is cd / space / that means change directory. So this is a command line interface. On the other hand, if I'm to bring this again, I'm to use this approach. This is what we call the graphical user interface. Right. So over here, this is the command line interface, and this is the graphical user interface. So when you watch some movies, you see hackers, typing things and doing things behind the scene and all of that. They normally have a blank screen, and all they do is to type text. So that interface is what we call the command line interface. And the interface, which looks more like graphics, like pictures, like what you see over here, where you can click, where you can drop down menus and do other things like this and so on. All these are what we term as the graphical user interface. So with the graphical user interface, we normally point at icons or menus to provide more information for us. So now I'm trying to go to drive C. So in my drive C, I have all these folders together with files in there. Now, on the command line interface, you can see I'm also in drive C, which is also the same thing as here, drive C. So this is the graphical interface. At the command line interface, when I type dir, which is to list the directory, you should see all the content in there. Let me reduce the size. So right, so I think the size is quite big. Let me see if I can reduce it. Okay. So over here on the drive C, I think you might not see. Let me go again. Increase it a little by, let's say 16. Now, so from here, you can see these are the directories. The ones you see with dir means it's a directory. A directory is a folder. Just like a folder is more like a box where you can put in files. So you can see we have Softaculous. It's a folder here on my graphical user interface. And when I come here, Softaculous is also a directory. Then I have a file called ab.exe. That is a file over here at the bottom in the graphical user interface. Then I have another directory called amps, and that is a directory here. We have app, we have backup. So virtually all the directories or files that you see, you would see its variant in the command line interface. So these are the two ways that a user will be able to talk to the operating system. And most times, if we are in the command line, you will not have access to go into the windows to see the graphical user interface. So usually you boot the computer and all you see is a blank screen for you to now type text to see what you want to do. So that is about it. So that is about the command line interface. So now when we move on, so there are two ways to talk to the computer, the CLI and the GUI, which is the GUI. Now I talked about so on the system software, we have the OS. Now, with the diagram you see here, the system software, which we normally we're talking about, is the operating system. The operating system is what is installed on the laptop or on the computer. Now, on top of the operating system, that way we can now install any other software. That is the application software. So always the application software is on top of the operating system. So that means without the operating system, you can't install an application software. So if you don't have an operating system on your laptop, you can't install any application software, which is tailor-made specifically for something. An example of an operating application software is the gaming software, as we talked about. FIFA, maybe speaking, all those are examples of application software. And always they are installed on the system software, which is the operating system. So for the scenario you see here, we have data in this form, and this lady is supposed to push that data into the computer, either through an application that she has installed, Excel or whatever. Then the processing is done on this, the system software, which is operating system or their software itself, whether Excel or whatever. And at the end of the day, the useful information is now outputted here for her boss to see. So this is the useful information in the form of a graph. Now, the system software mainly exists for us to, for the computer itself. So it helps the computer perform specific functions. So one of these major types of system software is operating system, as I talked about. And all the computers require an operating system. There is no computer that does not need an operating system. So the servers that you buy, if you buy it, the server which we normally classify as the mini computer, when you buy it, doesn't have an operating system. So you have to purchase a separate operating system and install on it. So it's just the hardware that you get. So you have to now purchase the software, for which is the system software, and most times it's the operating system. And what does the OS do? Its main focus is to tell the computer how to interact with the user and its own devices. That is the hardware that are connected to it. So these are the common operating systems that do exist. We have the Windows, the Macintosh, and the Unix. Linux, all those are examples of operating system. So for the Linux, we can talk of Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. These are all Linux operating systems which you can install. If you buy a Windows operating system, by default, if you buy a laptop from Microsoft, by default, you get Windows installed. You can format the Windows and put on Windows, put on a Linux operating system, and that will also work. And of course, Windows operating system and the Macintosh OS, they are all proprietary in that it is not for free. You have to buy them. By the Linux operating system, they are all free because they have huge community backing it and updating and developing patches for that particular operating system. It's for free. So if you want to download Ubuntu, for instance, you can go online and type Ubuntu Linux operating system, and you'll get the latest version to install on your computer. And that will perform the same function as the Windows operating system. Right. So OS is a program that acts as the intermediary between the user and the computer and all the components of the hardware. So using this analogy, Christians, go through God through Jesus Christ. Muslims also go through God through Muhammad. So in that case, Jesus Christ and Muhammad serve as the operating system, the mediator between Christians or Muslims and God. So in the same way, the OS also serves as a mediator between the user and the components of the computer. There are two main primary goals of the OS. These are the two. The primary goal, two main goals. The primary goal is to make sure that the computer system is convenient for use by the user. So the essence of the OS is to make it possible for the user to interact with it. In the secondary goal, the idea is to be able to use the computer hardware itself. Now, the OS in its sense controls and also coordinates the use of the computer hardware among various application programs for the user of the computer. And of course, OS is one program that runs on the computer all the time. So without the OS running, there is no way you'll be able to install any application software. So the OS is continuously running on the computer. So that is one aspect of it. And of course, these are also functions of the operating system. We've talked about them, but just by way of reiterating, we can really talk about it in this way. So in terms of the functions of operating system, OS provide the methods for other programs to communicate with the hardware. It also creates a user interface that enables users to make changes to the computer system. And finally, it enables users to determine and install programs to make changes to the program where necessary. So if there are outdated programs, you can always install an update of those programs. And these are all possible because of the OS. This, we talked about it in class. That is the BIOS, Basic Input Output System. This is actually a pre-installed computer program that enables the user to control the system and the different hardware components without going through that long route, loading the operating system. Now, the BIOS itself is very key. You know, sometimes you hear somebody saying, go into your BIOS and do some settings. At the BIOS session, you can set up the hardware and also ways to boot the operating system, whether to boot from drive C, which is your hard disk or pen drive and so on. So basically, we also say that the BIOS is placed in a non-volatile ROM. If you say it's not volatile, it means when the light goes off, the information that is stored on the ROM doesn't vanish. It's always contained in the ROM, irrespective of there being power or not. So that is one thing about the ROM. Right, so the OS and BIOS, these ones we had a discussion of it. So I'm going to skip that one. Then we have what we call the complementary metal oxide semiconductor. That is a CMOS battery, complementary oxide semiconductor. That is a CMOS battery. Anytime you put on your computer and you realize that the date and time is wrong, then it means there's a huge probability your the battery that is storing all these configuration on board of your system units is dead. So you boot the computer, the time is wrong. You set it, you shut it down, you come back again, you do it again. The time goes back again to a wrong time. And it means you have to find a way to replace the CMOS battery. The CMOS battery looks very similar to the battery in your car, in car remotes. You know, those round batteries. So that is how the CMOS battery looks like. Yes, so we've talked about the system software and our concentration was on this operating system. Now let's talk about the application software. So the asset application software is program specific. It is meant to do something. If it's meant to type, that is its concentration. So application software consists of programs that tell a computer how to produce information. And usually the application software tells the computer how to accomplish the tasks that the user requires, such as creating documents and editing or graphic images. So most of the time, the application software that we install on our operating system will find its way in one of these categories. Word processing, Microsoft Word, database, Microsoft Access, graphic programs, you can have Photoshops, web design tools, you can have your Dreamweaver, and so on, communication medium. So these are categories that most of the application software, we find them in these categories. Yeah, so the moment you put on, you put off, the moment your computer is off and you put it on, this act is termed as booting the computer, not kicking it. It's termed as booting. So booting is a startup sequence that starts the operating system of the computer when it is turned on. There are different types of boots. We have the cold boot and the warm boot. Can anyone tell me the difference between the cold boot and the warm boot? Anyone? You can unmute yourself and talk.
Sir, please, what I know about code booting is when the machine is off and then you are starting it, that is starting it afresh, switching it on. And then the warm booting is when, let's say your machine is on sleep, you've putting it on a sleep mode, or you want to restart the machine. That is my understanding to that.
Yes, in fact, you are right. Perfect. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, so cold boot is when the computer is off and you put it on. And warm boot is when the computer is already on. You either restart it or you hibernate it and you are starting it. That is cold and warm boot. What about if the computer is on and I just put it off? The moment it goes off and I put it on again, what kind of boot is that? Anyone, the computer is on, then all of a sudden I I put it off, then I put it on again within a split second. What type of booting is that? Anyone, anyone? Richard, would you want to try?
I may try. This
Okay.
I'm the speaking. Uh, can it be emergency shutdown or whatever? Emergency because you shut it down and on it again as soon as you shut it down. It means emergency booting.
Oh, okay.
Can it be that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamza, I think I get you.
Yeah. Emergency
Okay.
shutdown.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Okay, Benjamin.
uh, what about fast booting? Fast booting.
Fast booting.
Yeah,
Do we have fast booting? Okay,
yeah,
let's
uh,
see Aka.
uh,
Yeah. With respect to the question you asked, I think I would say it's warm booting.
One more thing. Why
Yes,
do you say
please.
that?
Please come again.
Why do you say that?
Because at that stage, the PC has already been heated.
Okay. Now I don't know if all of you have knowledge, know what ChatGPT is. All right. In fact, when we say cold booting, whether the computer was on or off, the moment you put it off, once it goes off and you boot it again, it's still called cold booting. But if it is on and you restart it, it's called warm booting. So it's still cold booting when you put it off and you put it on even at the same time, right after it goes off. It's still termed as cold booting. All right, so let's move on. Thank you very much, guys. Now let's talk about so the BIOS, I think we talked about them already, just a minute. So when you boot it for the first time, that is the process it goes through. And at the BIOS session, we can configure it in such a way that the moment you boot the PC, it can load from the CD drive or the hard disk or the network, or even a pen drive. These options are there. Every manufacturer have their own, or vendor have their own way of doing this. Sometimes you use the function key F8, other times F2, other times F12. So depending on the manufacturer, the function key will help you to know the boot sequence. All right. So this is how the desktop of a computer looks like. And obviously those that have used Windows 7, this is a Windows 7 desktop. And this is where we have the desktop. So that is the desktop. And anything on top of the desktop is called an icon. So these icons are graphical representation of programs that are yet to be run or already existing running. So all these are icons. They are graphical representation of every program. The entire bar here is what we call the task bar. And at the task bar, we have at the right side of the task bar, we have what we call the notification area and the date and time. So at the notification area, notices or things that are happening on a computer will be projected over here. So that is it. And these are some graphical representation of some of the things on the Windows operating system. This is specifically Windows 7. Now, if any of us have a laptop and it has Windows XP on it, you should be mindful that Windows XP is no more being supported by Microsoft. If I say it's not being supported, then it means Microsoft is not giving patches to secure their Windows XP operating system. So it means your XP is vulnerable and anybody can attack you, can hack you. Now, since you're already enrolled in this course, I would advise that if you're also using Windows 7, you should also be mindful that Windows have stopped supporting this one too as well. So you try to upgrade your operating system to Windows 8 or 10 or 11. So that is one thing you should be mindful of. These are things that I think we have some knowledge of. My computer in Windows 7, now it says this PC and so on. The recycle bin is a container that holds deleted files. So anytime you delete a file, it goes into the recycle bin. At the recycle bin, you can go and restore that file. But if you permanently delete the file by holding down the shift delete, then it means you will not be able to retrieve that file because it will delete directly out of the hard disk. So that is about it. But there's a question here. Why is it that when we have a file on a pen drive and we connect it to our computer, the file vanishes when we delete it? It doesn't go to recycle bin. Anyone? Well, of
Sir,
course.
come again.
Yes, we have, usually when you delete a file from your computer, it goes to the recycle bin. But when you have that same file on a pen drive and you delete it, it doesn't go into the recycle bin. Why do you think it's so?
That is because the pen drive is an external drive attached to the main frame of the computer. So it wouldn't go straight on the computer.
Yes, that is very true, Mark. I think you have totally right. So it's an external drive. It's not part of the.
This is Andrew.
Oh, Andrew.
Crystal
Okay.
like
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, so it's an external. It's not really attached to the computer. That is why when you delete, it goes off the computer. Now, assuming you have a pen drive and you have very important file on it, and you mistakenly delete it, do you think it will be possible to retrieve it retrieve that particular file. We just said it is an external device, so it will vanish. So now the file has been deleted. Is there any way we can retrieve that file?
So it will be difficult since this one doesn't go through the recycling bin so that you can go and recycle it and bring it back. And the fact that it's an external drive, trying to get it back will be quite difficult. I don't know if
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mike. Any other? Yes. Aka.
Yeah, I strongly support what Mike said. Since we know from the onset that pen drive did not have recycle bin, as soon as you delete a file from external drive, it goes permanently. Harder to retrieve it back.
Okay, that's great. We have.
I believe there's a way to retrieve it back.
Okay, how?
Yeah, by going into the pen drive, the deleted items, it might be on the computer icon on it, on the computer itself, so that you can just reinstall it back. Since it wouldn't go to the computer's recycle bin.
Now you have confused us. Andrew, you've confused us now.
Okay. There might be a way which I might not.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What you said earlier on, when you delete it, it doesn't come. It doesn't go to the recycle bin, it vanishes. So in the same way, when you do it this way, when a file is deleted permanently, what you can do is to use a software which is being bought. There are software that you can buy online to help you retrieve such files. So those software, what you can do is to, there are quite a number of them. Recovery software, you can download them. You buy them online, they will give you access to download it, and you can retrieve your file from your pen drive. I think it's around $30 thereabouts, depending on the type that you're looking for. Now, apart from that, there is also another way. What you can also do is to well, that is the approach. Before you can even use those software, these are the things that you have to do. There is one other thing. When you, Aka, before you come in, when you realize you've deleted the file on the pen drive, you should make sure that you don't copy any file to that pen drive or any software to that pen drive or any folder to that pen drive. The moment you do that, there's a high probability the sector that was holding the file that you deleted will be filled by the new sector. So once it fills it, then it means it will corrupt that sector of the file. So when you are retrieving with those software, you might not be able to retrieve it. So the moment you realize you've deleted a file from your pen drive, that file is very important, and assuming you are using any of these software to retrieve it, make sure you don't put or copy any file on that pen drive to make it easier for retrieval. Yes, I think someone had their hand up, but the hand is vanished. You can ask your question if you do have. Yes, Aka.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that with respect to the pen drive file deleting.
Yes.
And you also made us understand that we have some apps or software that can help us retrieve files.
Yes.
But the question is, so with that software, can it also help with a file that has been deleted for so many years or so for so long? Can it bring it back?
Oh yes, it will be able to bring it back. It depends on the type of software and the pen drive. If some of the software will bring the files back, but it's some portion of assuming it's a picture, it will bring the picture back all right, but you see some portion of the picture being blank. You see maybe some parts of the bottom part of the picture sector is corrupt. So the picture will come all right. You see the picture, but some parts might be blank and all of that. But most times the software, in fact, we don't have a word called softwares. A software, a plural of software is software. So most times the software will be able to retrieve every file that has been deleted for a long time. That is if those files have not been filled, those sectors during the deletion have not been filled yet. It makes it easier for retrieval. Any other question? Okay, so I think I can move on. Right. So most times, I usually show students how to partition their hard disks. Usually when you buy a new laptop, it is always good to partition your hard disks because most times the operating system will be running on the drive C, and this drive C sometimes gets corrupted, it becomes slow and all of that. So when you partition it, you can have drive C and drive D. So your important files, you can put it on this particular partition, and the operating system will run over here, and all your program installation will be here. But your documents, your movies, your songs, and all of that can be on a different drive. So we normally I run students through how to partition their hard disks. And this is done when you go to the computer management. With the computer management, let me see if I can bring it up. Yeah, Hamza, you can ask a question, please.
Manager, and from what you just said,
yes,
we can retrieve some information from pen drive or from anything that we need. I have some pen drive in which I really need some information from it. They're about 6 to 10. It seems I bought them from different countries I've worked on, and these informations are needed. Can we use it for demonstrating? I'll bring it to our schools. We can see how we can do to get them back to life.
Yes. So with that said, let me see. But are you able to open the pen drive? First of all, are you able to open it?
And when I put the pen drive into my laptop or computer, it tells me that it can open it, and I'm not sure it is damaged, but because the software I have my computer may be the problem. So I think what you mentioned that may help. Yeah, I'll just bring it. We try to demonstrate and see. When it's not good, then that's it. I just dump it.
Oh, that's fine. So these are recovery software that you can use to recover your files.
Yep, that's it.
These are examples of such recovery software. I'm sure you can all see it. Let me see if I'm projecting it correctly. Let me see. All right. So there is Rakuva, there is Dixdrill, there is Stellar Data Recovery. I've used this before, years back. There is Windows File Recovery. In fact, these are plenty recovery files, software. So you can download them, install them. Some are not free. I've used this one too also before. I think they are not free. You might have to buy them. Let me see how much this one is going for. So with these ones, they will tell you free trial. And when you download and you install it, you will see your files. And when you try to recover it, they will tell you to pay. Or they let you recover 1 or 2 files, but you not recover the rest. So you see the prices. If you want to buy the software for a lifetime, it's about $150. If you want to use it for a year, it's about $100. If you want to use this for a month, it's about $70. And these are ways to purchase it. So there are most of these recovery software are not free. You have to buy them. Because there are ways you can also crack them. When you go to a place like Get Into PC, getintopc.com, you see most of these software there. So let's see, assuming we want this easy data recovery. Let's see if somebody has put it on a server for us to download. Great. So the software is here. So we can download it and use it. So let's download it. Maybe the next time we'll try your pen drive to see if it will work. Let me see. Please try and download this. You go to that site and download it. Let me send it to the classroom. And we can do it together in class to see if it will work. So class rep, let me send you a WhatsApp message to the link to download. So I'll go down. The password after download is 123. So I'll download the software. So luckily, sometimes we have people who love us so much that they will crack the software and give it to us for free. We don't have to buy them. So that is an example of such places. Let me see. All right, so I'm downloading it. So maybe when we meet again in class, we can try it. You can bring your pen drive and we can try it to see if it will work.
Okay. Thank you, manager.
Right.
Thank you.
So I'll mute you and then we'll continue. Okay, I can see. Well, you are, Mr. Aka has done a good job. Now you have a way of, unmuting yourself and talking to us. Please teach him how to use the VLE tool. We will take up a quiz next week when we in our Zoom lecture. So I'll just tell you the time you go there, you take the quiz, and we'll continue. All right.
I went to Aka house with him, so that's where we're able to have time on, and we said.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Aka. Cheers, man.
Right. So anytime any of you need a software, just go to this website, Get Into PC. Let me just send you the link again to Classroom. And you just type the name of the software, and lo and behold, if you are lucky, you'll find the software there and you download. Right. So any software that you can think of. Okay, so that was just by the way. I was on this. So at the Dex Manager, I was talking about partitioning. So you can see I have plenty partitioning. There is web info, there's 12 gig somewhere, recovery, and all those. So if I want to partition this, I'll just right click on it. I'll shrink the volume, and after I would format it, and it becomes a partitioned portion. So if we meet and you want us to do it practical, we can do it together.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. So that is about it. So we move on. These are things that the operating system always comes with. So there are action centers under notification. There is Windows Defender. There is user account control. So sometimes you are browsing online, and by the time you realize, you remember I told you yesterday that some people will install bots on your computer and use it to mine Bitcoin. If you have your UAC, which is the user account control set up properly, during the installation of such bots, a pop-up will display on your screen. Do you want to install this software? I think most of us have seen it. You either cancel it. If you don't configure it properly, then behind the scene, this software will be installed and they would use it to mine Bitcoin and do other things. All right. So those of us who have laptops, anytime you are connected to the internet, please update your operating system, your Windows operating system. When the update comes, please update it, because every day in, day out, they bring in new updates. And so many viruses keep coming. So Microsoft also releases patch to help your computer. So when the updates come, you have to update it. There's a firewall that is installed by default for any operating system to disallow certain programs or certain access to your computer. Parental control is also a way where you can control the accounts, the user account that exists on your computer. You can create an account for your children with limited access to the entire computer and so on. Now let's talk about viruses. Who understands or who knows what a virus, what it stands for? What is a virus? It's actually an acronym. It stands for something. Anyone? What does this virus stand for? It's an acronym. It stands for something. Anyone? Okay, a virus stands for Vital Information Resource Under Siege. So it means vital for V, information, something that is important, resource, it could be file, it could be whatever, under siege. Siege means attack. So vital information resource under siege. So you have a vital information that is being attacked by a virus. So that's what a virus does, what it's meant for. Now, the computer virus is an application program. It's an application program or a program or software mainly designed and written to destroy other programs or the whole computer system instead. So it has the ability to link itself to your programs or other programs, copy itself, and so on. So there are lots of viruses that do exist. And these are some examples. These are some old examples of viruses. And mind you, day in, day out, there are lots of viruses that are coming in. There's a huge production of new sets of viruses coming in every time. So these are just some few ones that do exist. So when you have a virus, how do you know if you do? So the virus program, what it does is it will infect a program, your document, your database, and more. And most times it is man-made. It can hide and replicate itself. It can sometimes also lay dormant. You see the Trojan horse. I think the Greece, when they received or when they gave out the horse to, I think, I'm not so sure whether Greece, I'm not so sure I think the ancient times, they built a Trojan horse, gave it as a gift um, to an empire or in his empire. And at night, there were humans in there. They came down and now went to fight them just to conquer their kingship or kingdom. Yes, so it could be dormant for a while and activate itself when necessary. And where do we normally get viruses? Most times it's the internet. Now it's the internet. Those times it would have been diskettes and so on, but we've stopped. And also on the network. So if you're a network, we have a network in UMAT and there's a virus on one computer which is on the network, there's a high probability that virus will travel to every part of the network. And also on the internet, when we download files, when we go to some websites that contain some of these files, we get ourselves infested. So anytime you want to know if you have a virus, these are some of the key things that you realize. You will notice that your storage, the storage on your drive C, it's almost full. So that tells you there's a virus that is replicating itself. Sometimes your computer will be very slow whenever you're trying to run a program or a software. So that tells you there's a high probability you have been infected. And anytime you keep getting errors, you run a program, you are getting errors and so on. Sometimes it could be another factor. If your PC keeps freezing, you are working and it freezes and it doesn't boot again, then there's a likelihood your computer has been infected with a virus. So in protecting yourself, you need to buy an antivirus. By default, whenever Microsoft also has an antivirus, which we call the Windows Defender, which you can always update to keep yourself, protected. But there are other vendors like Kaspersky and so on, all these ones that have software tailored to catch virus. So those are application software. Kaspersky is application software. What it does is to catch viruses. Personally, I use Kaspersky. I've been using Kaspersky for years. It's just about 100 cedis or 120 cedis. So for a year, you purchase that and you're good to go. So if you have a new laptop and you want to protect yourself and you want Kaspersky, you can contact me. I will sell small for you. All right, so these are other examples of antivirus. This brings us to the end of lecture 2. So we have our final one, which is summary time. Question asked, yes, Aka?
Yeah, my question is about the about the viruses. The virus.
Yes.
You from the presentation, you said it's a man-made application. My question is, sir, do these people get profit from out of creating the virus? And is these people the same people create the antivirus?
That is a very good question. Of course. You see, these individuals, they are smart, hackers always try to find ways to get access to your computer. So these hackers, they always develop software that's application software. Now you know the term, so let me use it. They develop application software that will be able to get the software installed on your operating system for their own reason. So for instance, if maybe I'm lecturing you, you want to see my exams questions, you want to hack me, you can create a software to do that. So that when I'm online, you probably will send me a file via email. When I download it, automatically behind the scene, it's installing on my computer without my knowledge. So your gain was to have access to the question paper, the questions on my computer. So in the same way, depending on who wants to attack you, these antivirus companies, of course, they also come out with viruses. Sometimes you see an antivirus, they say it is free, like Avira or Avast, for instance. You have 30-day free. It will do all the work, but behind the scene, after 30 days, by the time you realize these viruses are still back again, or other file viruses have been introduced. So there are ways they always come out with these to also recoup their money. But mind you, there are organizations that are developing viruses every day. So there's a high probability that these antivirus companies are the ones bringing out viruses. But of course, it's not only them. Other people also have different gains, different reasons for producing viruses. So that could be it. But luckily, Microsoft also has a built-in antivirus, which I talked about. The Microsoft Defender. It works perfectly, but if there is a vendor that has sole responsibilities to develop an antivirus, you can see him putting all his efforts into securing your computer. So such vendors will be the best option. Microsoft is developing an operating system, and the concentration is on how the operating system will work and all of that. Although they will give you some security in terms of protecting you from viruses, they will not be able to devote so much attention to that aspect. That is why we always advocate you get an antivirus from a different vendor, because they are specific, tailored to just attack viruses. All right, is there any other question?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Shule. I just want to ask a question about the virus. So,
Yes.
like you were saying, if you start seeing your computer freezing and other things, my question, if you don't get rid of the virus, is it possible your computer will go dead?
Yeah, some of the viruses can also fry your PC. They can crash your hard disk. Your PC
Okay.
is almost full, and
Yeah.
it is some of them will bombard it with so much unnecessary files. You can't run your computer. So with time, it will slow you down. It's a work that you probably use 5 minutes. You probably use 30 minutes now. So it's also a way of reducing productivity. Spoiling the computer, no. It will not really spoil it, but most times it will just waste your time, making the PC slow. But a remedy might be to format. If you format the computer, it goes with a virus.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have very important documents on your computer, so you wouldn't want to format it. That is why it's advisable you install an antivirus. And that is a good question. Let me come again. Now, when you install an antivirus, it is not good to have two antivirus on the same computer. It will also slow your computer down. An example is, assuming there is a virus on your computer and you have two antivirus. All these two antivirus will try to fight that virus. So Kaspersky goes in, is trying to fight it. Avira also goes in, is trying to fight that file that is a virus. So you can see how it's going to slow your computer down. So it's not best to have two antiviruses running on your computer. You should always have one antivirus installed on your computer. And the moment most times when you start the installation, it will deactivate one. Okay. Any other question, please?
Sir.
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to know, not sometimes when you on a PC, you might see a folder, a faded folder.
Yes.
On your PC. Some say it's a virus. I don't know whether that's true. And the second question is, if you have your window firewall and you keep updating it, is it necessary to get another antivirus to also add up to the Windows firewall? Thank you.
Yeah, the Windows antivirus. I think this one, it used to be called Security Essential. So I'll start from the back. This is the Windows security section where you have the virus and all these things. But right now, my Kaspersky is taking over. So usually, as I said, your Windows antivirus is good. The Defender or Security Essential is good. It can protect you. But if you recall, I was saying that the concentration of Microsoft is on the operating system. And this is just an added feature just to help also protect you. So their concentration is not to, not necessarily saying that fully protect you per se. They can miss a point. They normally say jack of all trades, master of none. They are giving you an operating system. They are giving you so many things. So they might not be a master of the Windows and the security aspect. I hope you get me. So it will be better to go in for a vendor that is a master in that area, which is an antivirus from a different vendor. And those companies, their sole mastery is on fishing for viruses. So they have huge databases to help protect you. With that said, it doesn't mean that your Windows antivirus is not good. It's good. You can use it. As far as you always update your operating system, you are good to go. That is one. Secondly, you asked about some folders being grayed out or whatever. Usually they are hidden folders. I think, let me see if I can. Those grayed out, most of the time, they are hidden folders. That's, you don't want, let me see. I'm trying to see if I can show you one. Like this one. You see, it is grayed out in a way. So these are hidden folders. It doesn't mean they are viruses. They are not. Some of these hidden folders are there to protect you. Like this one, for instance, program data. So in there, all the programs that I'm running, they put those data over here for easy access by the RAM, for easy execution too as well. So it doesn't mean it's a virus. But of course, a virus can also disguise itself as that. This is also recovery. If I want to recover my PC, I can go through that route. So those great things are you just hide the hidden items and it will go. It's just a way to protect you from mistakenly deleting those files or folders. All right. So if that question is answered, any other question? All right. If there's no question, can we have a summary? Two people summarizing what they've learned today, just by way of a recap. Two or more people summarizing what they've learned today.
Yeah, good morning again.
Yes.
I joined you late, but when the time I joined you, you were on when you how to shut your computer off.
Okay.
Once when I hear Hamza was saying emergency shutdown and go.
Yeah.
So that's where I got into
That's
it,
okay.
but I did not get much about. I think next time when I will go through because I need to get that because I
Okay.
never heard it before. So
Okay. So there is a
so
good thing. This is a recorded version. So after I'll put it on
okay.
our page.
Thank you very
Have
much.
access to it. And in
Okay.
fact, over here on campus, all my lectures, I always make sure I record it and put it on the page. So sometimes
Okay.
if I miss a lecture, I put it up for students to revisit.
Okay.
So you have not missed anything. You can go back again.
Yeah.
So, sir,
Yes.
hello,
Yes, we can hear you.
hello, sir,
Hello, Mike.
hello.
Mike, we can hear
So,
you.
all right. So, yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm driving though, but please. Total summary of what I've learned so far
Yes.
about softwares, which we have system software and program application. And also, I think starting off Windows for the first time, things that we need to do, that is the BIOS, and I think a couple of central control panel. That is when it comes to my computer, the recycling bin. When we delete files, how to get the files back through the recycling bin. And if it happens that we use an external drive, going to buy a recovery program to get your stuff back and all those kind of stuff. And also, we've learned about viruses and how it came about and how antiviruses are being produced to get rid of virus. That is so far the little I've gotten into
That is great.
my head from this session today. So,
Thank you very much, Mike. I think that is fine.
Okay, so to top it up,
Yeah. Andrew.
You taught us on the worm and the code. That's the machine when it's off power, turning it on is the code. And when it's on hibernate or sleep, that's the worm. And per my understanding, the system software is the same as operating systems. And without operating systems, you can never install application software.
Great.
Yeah.
That is it.
And with DOS run, you can, yeah. So that's just to top it up. That's what I picked.
That is wonderful, Andrew. Thank you very much. So on your screen, I'm sure you've seen so many of these things. So these are lectures that I have with students. I have a lot of these lectures. I also teach some students in GCTU, Ghana Telecom University. So these are some of the lectures that I have with them. So I have a playlist for all the lectures. So with ours, that is over here, Introduction to Computing. I think it's this one. So they are the ones that I have put up here. Let me see if we have that for So you will never miss my lecture. At least you would have. If you mistakenly miss it, at least you can always say this. So let's see. I don't have lecture 2 here, so I'll make sure I'll add today's recording to it. All right, Aka, let's hear you.
Sir,
Yes.
this is Charles. I've also learned that disk management
Yes.
is also a way of protecting our hard drives from,
Unwanted crashes.
viruses and
Okay, well.
unwanted crashes.
Mhm.
Like especially pushing some of our drivers, our application drivers or operating system drivers to a partition where it can be safe from the main partition which the operating system works from.
Yes.
And
So anything that you think is very important to you, you can store it at that partition. It's just like having an external hard drive, copying your files over there. So that is one key thing why it is necessary to partition your hard disks. So that's fine. All right, it's 12 o'clock. Yes, so before I go, I would want to make sure everybody is here. So so that the quiz will be very easy. At the moment, we have 12 students in here. Andrew Aqua, you have never logged into the system. I'm wondering why.
Sir, that's my problem. I've been trying and reported it to ACA.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to log out and log in again and see if I can help you resolve. But are you able to use the university log details? Have you configured
Yes, I did that with the
email?
I did that with the registration and but with the computer class, I can't log in, and I told the class rep.
Okay.
Yes, so that was the one I told you yesterday.
Okay.
And you did some correction on the reference number.
Okay, then maybe you might have to use the correct reference number to do it. The one I used. Hold on, let me see. So who else is not in? So apart from him, Andrew Aqua.
Yes, sir.
It looks like everybody is here. And you've all logged in before, which is good. So let me just work on Andrew's own.
Mr. Please, if you can check Suleiman Audu as well.
Yeah, Suleiman Audu.
Is he also enrolled?
Not yet.
He's not here. Okay, let me just.
What about Prince?
Yes.
Nana.
Prince is there.
Okay.
Anna is there.
Okay.
So Andrew Aqua, which of these is you?
Yes, sir.
Did you do certificate
Yes.
in mining, in mineral?
Yeah.
Did you do any certificates in mineral?
Yes, I did. Yes, sir,
Yeah,
I
that was
did. I
last year.
did.
Okay. And this one too is also
Last 2
you.
years.
Is this also you?
Now the second one. Yeah, let me zoom in.
If it is you,
Certificates.
you logged in 7 days ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, it's
yeah,
me.
that
I
is the,
tried logging in.
Where's Aqua? So this is your username. When you're logging in, use this username.
Yes, that's what I use.
Okay, so I'm going to reset your password for you.
Okay, sir.
So the password I'm going to use, everybody can see you. So
so he will change it. He will
Oh,
change it.
no problem. Oh, no problem.
at 1, 2, 3. So your password is now heaven at 1, 2, 3. When you log in, you change your password. Capital
Okay.
H, heaven at 1, 2, 3.
Yes, sir, I've seen it.
Okay.
So I'll retry it and get back to the classroom.
Okay. All right. And the next person is we
Thank
went
you, sir.
to another name.
Audu
Audu Sulemana.
Sulemana.
I will do Suleimana. You sent me his details. I think you did it.
Yes, please.
But Mr. Hamza, are you on now?
Yeah, I'm on, please.
Have you been able to enroll?
No, he is on the Zoom, but he's not on the e-learning.
Oh, we have to add him.
I'm not on the e-learning. I'm not on there.
Okay, let me just add him right now. So this is your reference number. That is your username. And you too, your password is the same thing. Heaven at 1, 2, 3.
Heaven.
Yes, we are going to heaven.
Now, yeah. Heaven
Heaven
one,
at
two,
1,
three.
2, 3.
Okay,
So you change your password when you do.
no.
And is your email Hamza Republic?
Yes, please.
Okay. So that is your email. So when you log in, I think they will send you an email or so. You have to check that one too. Also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right.
So were you using the Yahoo one?
Yes, or he has a university one.
Yeah, no, he has the Gmail too.
So which one should I use? I'm using a Yahoo one right now.
Okay.
The Yahoo one, if you to work, use the Yahoo one. That'll be easier for me.
Okay.
Okay.
To get the Gmail, you have to make a lot of process. And then yesterday I tried with Aka, it wasn't easier for that to get there. The Yahoo is always on my
Born
on
before
my phone.
computer.
Yes.
Okay, so country is Ghana. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I've created your account. Let me add you to the class.
Okay.
Okay, so you're also in the class.
Okay.
Then other guy, you mentioned a person.
Suleimana Awudu.
Awudu Suleimana. Let me see if he's also here. Awudu Su. He also registered recently.
Yes, please.
But I've not seen his details. His
Mr. Suleimana, are you on the line?
Yes, please.
Yeah, can you send us your admission letter?
If you have a copy on your phone.
Let me check.
Okay, so you do that, and when you get it, just forward it to me. I'll add him. All right, so that brings us to the end of today's lecture.
No problem with that.